Ashley Purdon with Pioneer Horsemanship, and today I'm going to give you a little bridling demo on the best way that you can bridle your horse without clanking the bit on their teeth or getting their head way up in the air or them trying to avoid you. This is Dylan, and the last few times that we've tried to bridle him, he's actually leaned away a little bit, so I'm kind of hoping he does that again today so that you guys can see my fix for it. So it's really important before you go to bridle that you make sure that you have a decent amount of control of your horse's head. And I will tell you as well, if you have a horse that's especially hard to bridle, you might leave their halter on and put the bridle over it a few times to practice. Also, another thing worth getting checked out, if you're consistently having bitting issues and just have a really hard time getting them to open their mouth and put the bit in, and you feel like you're doing everything right and everything's in the right place, you might have your vet do a dental on your horse, or at least an exam, and see if you have anything going on in there where he's going to be uncomfortable with a bit in his mouth. Horses are great at avoiding anything that's uncomfortable or hurts them, as they should be, and so that can be how he communicates with you that his teeth need done if it's really, really hard to get the bit in. So first of all, I'm going to make sure that I can lower his head down off the halter, and I'm going to teach him this by putting pressure on the halter. Then as soon as he lowers his head, I'm going to remove my hand, like that halter got hot all of a sudden. Ask him to put his head down, remove my hand. And then, now that he's good at it, I can just kind of keep my hand down all the way to the ground if I need to. I can pick his head up if I need to. So this is how much control you should have of your horse's head. I should be able to flex him around. I should be able to move him the other way. I should be able to put his head up as high as I want, bring it down. So the ideal position for bridling would be his head wrapped around me a little bit this way. Horses actually have a much easier time opening their mouth if their poll is below their withers slightly, or really far below their withers, like if they're eating off the ground or grazing. When their head is lifted, it's actually really, really hard for them to open their mouth. So that might be another issue you're running into if you feel like you're chasing your horse's head up into the air and he won't open his mouth for you. Chances are he may not actually be able to from this position. So we want his poll below his withers, and ideally like some type of chest height for you is going to be the most comfortable as well. So at this point, I'm going to pass my loop reins over his head to get them out of the way, and then I'm going to bring his head around to an ideal position for me to get the bridle on. And I'm going to go ahead and take his halter off as well, and I'll just tie that around his neck too. That's kind of overkill that I've got a lead rope and his loop reins and his halter on him, but this can sometimes just be the most convenient way to do it. So I'm going to ask him to lower his head. I'm going to hold my bridle from the top, pass that crown piece to myself, and then I'm going to separate my bit hobble from the bit as much as I can, and I'll explain why in a minute. Okay, so we're going to watch him. See how I'm starting to lose him here? He's starting to lean away from me. So this is borderline a no posture for bridling. I need him in a yes posture. So I'm going to bring him back, not let him have that bit yet, and now I'll bit him from here. I'm going to slide my thumb into the corner of his mouth. That's just your cue for opening their mouth. It doesn't matter how good the horse is, it's always a good idea to put your finger in their mouth. And then I'm going to do my off ear first on the off side, so that's going to be his right ear, and then I'll do his left ear. And notice how I folded them forward and put them through the bridle. So forward and through. I don't want to squish them up, I don't want to bring them back this way, just push them flat forward and through that way. So horses actually don't have any teeth from about here to here on their gum line. So your bit is going to sit with no interference on their teeth, as long as they don't have any wolf teeth, and that's always something as a young horse to make sure that they get a good dental check and that those wolf teeth get pulled if they're in there, because that will interfere with your bit. But if you stick your thumb in the corner of their mouth to cue them to open it, like that, that's exactly how I do it when I go to bridle him. I'm not going to get bit because he doesn't actually have any teeth right there. So it's a really safe thing to do, and it's just a good cue. That way you're not shoving the bit up into their teeth trying to get them to open. Lastly, I'm going to come through here with my throat latch, and I'm going to do that up. And I want to just check that it's not too tight and not too loose, so you should easily be able to slide your wrists through. And this throat latch is just going to keep the bridle from popping up over his ears and off while you're riding. So just kind of a stabilizing strap. I do want to come back and revisit really quickly this bit hobble. So a Western bridle, we're not going to have a cavesson or a noseband typically unless you're just training, which in that case it is an option to have one. But typically I'm not going to ride with one, and so it's important that instead I have a bit hobble on. Because if I don't and I were to pull one rein and flex him around while I'm riding, let's say he ran off or something and I really needed that emergency stop and he opened his mouth, if I didn't have the bit hobble on, he could very easily slide this bit completely out of his mouth, and I'm not going to have any control whatsoever. So that's going to keep that nice and secure as well. So now that we have him bridled, we can go ahead and remove our halter and our lead rope and hang that up. And when I'm leading them, your best case scenario is going to be taking those reins down completely off of him to lead him off and go enjoy your ride. I'm Ashley Purdy with Pioneer Horsemanship. I hope you found this tip helpful, and I'll see you all next time.